As you know, in the PC gaming market, there are budget, mid-range, and high-end video cards, both in retro and modern gaming. Today, we're going to take a look at a budget video card that wasn't so bad. This is the 128-bit Radeon 9250, and today we're going to take a look at it. In 2004, we were at the end of the gaming LAN cafes hype and going strong into the era of online PC gaming from home, in which we have been since then. To fulfill consumer needs, the PC parts market got flooded with good and bad parts. I remember shopping for a video card then, and I did exactly what you would expect. I bought myself a Radeon 9200 SC. This was a terrible video card. Of course, I had no idea. It's bad because it was an entry product to the Radeon 9000 line, and that line sported the Radeon 9100, 9200, 9250, 95, 9550, 96, 9700, 9800, and its variants. So you can see how low the 9200 is in that lineup. The reason the 9200 SC was so bad is that besides being an entry model, it had half the memory bandwidth at 64 bits versus the 128-bit bus in the higher tier video cards. So this is where it gets interesting. The 64-bit cards were the bottom of the barrel. So where do the 128-bit entry-level video cards go? Well, that's where we're going today. So here we have today's hero, the Radeon 9250 with 128 megabytes of DDR memory and of course a 128-bit bus. This model was made by G-Cube, a Chinese ATI AIB that was popular in South America but unfortunately moved out of the video card business in 2009. The Radeon 9250 uses the ATI RV280 chip that's built on the 150 nanometers process. The core runs at 240 MHz, it's got 4 pixel shaders, 1 vertex shader, 4 texture mapping units, and 4 render output units. It's got 128 megabytes of DDR memory that runs at 200 MHz, or 400 effectively as some might say. It supports DirectX 8.1, OpenGL 1.3, and this card uses the AGP8X interface, but it was also available in PCI, and it cost around $100 on release in 2004. Doom 3 is from 2004, and being one of the games with the more impressive textures here, we need to run it in 800 by 600 in the minimum settings for it to be playable. Frame rates are low, as you can see. You could even lower the resolution a bit more to get better frame rates, but to tell you the truth, that would make it feel like this was a game from the past generation, even for the time. When PC 3D accelerated gamings were introduced with the first video cards, most games ran at 640 by 480, the next step down from 800 by 600. So the way we see the game now would be my ideal setup for this hardware. Far Cry is also from 2004, and the experience is a lot better with this one. Textures don't have as many details, but the game still looks great. Here we can bump the resolution to 1024 by 768, but the visual settings need to stay on the minimum possible. It does feel like you can run it on medium, and it kind of works when you are indoors, but as soon as you step outside, you see that it was a mistake, and you really need to play this one through in the minimum settings. GTA San Andreas is also a game from 2004, and folks, these are just the high hitters of the time, so keep in mind that if we're running these, this little video card could run anything up to that point in time. So what really makes the frame rate tank in GTA San Andreas is 32-bit textures. The card is sort of capable of running the game in 1280 by 1024, but not quite. So here it is running in 1024 by 768 with visual effects on medium and 16-bit textures, what I think is the best setup for it under these conditions. So here we have a bit of an older game, but one that looks very good. In truth, I much rather play this game than any of the others we saw so far. The character models are fantastic, story is great, the city is cool. This is Mafia. If you're a regular on the channel, you know that I'm a fan of this game. So this game is from 2001, and because of that we can run it with a bit more visual eye candy, and here we have it at 1280 by 1024 and the graphical settings are on medium. The game looks great. So now it's time we put the Radeon 9250 in our Aqua Mark 3 chart. It'll be interesting to see how it stacks up against its bigger brothers that are already on the chart, the Radeon 9600 and 9800 Pro. The run is painful. Even though the memory bus on the card is 128-bit, it's still lacking the horsepower for a decent result in the benchmark. So here we have it at $1395, just one step above a top-notch video card from 2001, the GeForce 3. A bit disappointing, but it is what it is. If you enjoyed this video about the Radeon 9250, check out this other one from the GPU June series where I compared the 9600 to the Radeon 9800 Pro.